Hey folks, how's it going? Here we are from StreetSmart Marketing. We're continuing on this topic of how much should I be spending on my marketing? Question we're looking at today is what are the realities of your specific product and industry? First up is referral rates. Nate Streeter's here with me. I'm Steve
Hello.
Lundgren. Sorry, I didn't get the introduction in
No,
there.
it's okay. It's okay.
So for referral rates, what impact does that have on this?
Well, it just makes a huge impact. I mean, I think like we've talked about in these other presentations with how much should I be spending on marketing, that's such a loaded question. It's sort of like asking a question like, well, how much should I be spending on a Valentine's Day gift? Or, I mean, it's just like, well, there's a lot of factors.
There's no standard answer for that.
Yeah, did you screw it up last year? Did you forget her birthday? And I know I'm making light of this, but you've been married longer than I have, haven't you, Steve?
Yeah, I could tell some stories,
I'm 15,
but we won't do that now.
Yeah, I'm going to celebrate 15 next year, so I've certainly had my share of screw-ups. But, all of that just to say, like, there's a lot of different factors that go into this.
Right.
And, sometimes what happens, I think you and I have talked about, referral rates are a huge part of how much you should be spending on marketing. I think most of you guys realize that, particularly if you're a home service business.
So some kinds of businesses, they just have higher referral rates than others, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think I told you, I sat down with a cleaning company. We'd done marketing for them for years and years and years. And I remember him sitting down. He'd actually drawn out almost like a family tree.
Oh, yeah.
And he said, Nate, remember when you did marketing back, we started with you back in 2002, 2003. And look, here's the 20 clients we got from the first campaign. And and he showed me, he said, these 20, and he had it all drawn out. Like I said, just like a family tree.
Wow.
And he said, those 20 turned into another 30 over the next 3 years. And, he had it all drawn out.
We should write a book if somebody hasn't, on referral trees. That sounds like a good topic.
And he was sort of bemoaning, like, just imagine if I would have kept spending that much. Because he was just grand opening at that point.
Right.
And he basically had dropped off his marketing because his referrals were really coming in. But I think he sort of bemoaned it because he's saying, well, what if I would have spent $5,000 or $20,000 those first 2 years?
Yeah.
What would my business look like now?
Yeah, because for every one of those initial prospects that became customers, he could see how that expanded through referrals.
Same thing. I mean, you think about the marketing we've done and helped with churches. And, oftentimes we do a big campaign for them. We put something together. And the very first, Sunday, they're a grand opening or something.
Right.
Or they've been around for a while and we do a bunch of marketing for them. And they get 40 new people that come.
Wow.
Because of it. Well, it's the same thing. Churches have high referral rates. I mean, I don't mean to talk about churches like a business, but in some ways, they're trying to get more people to participate and be interested. And so, the referral rates can be significant. And so it's just huge. When you talk about how much I should be spending on my marketing, if you're in a business where referrals aren't very high, which there are a lot, and then you're going to probably need to be thinking differently. If you are in a business where referral rates are high, then you want to be thinking about that too.
So in a business where the referral rates weren't high, I mean, basically you're talking about having to replace clients all the time or bringing in new customers. There's a high turnover rate in customers.
Right. So, and that fits into this lifetime value too, which is just like if you're a remodeling company, pretty much they're a one-time gig, right? You come in, you do an $80,000 kitchen for them. I get it. Some people are going to have you come back for the bathroom, but it's just not as likely. And how many referrals are they going to give you? Well, some, wealthy people who are doing big remodeling projects know other wealthy people who might be doing big remodeling, but it's not the same as a church, right? It doesn't have the same virality that a company like that, if I'm using that word correctly.
Yeah. It's not as viral. Yep.
Yeah. So I think that's part of it. I think part of it that we've seen with referral rates too is about getting into new social circles too. A lot of my really mature clients are thinking more like this too. Sometimes you have to get, let's say you've got a referral generating business is just amazing. But sometimes it's really hard to get into new social circles, and you actually can extinguish some social circles. We've seen that.
Wow.
And, it's not quite the same as it was 10 years ago because we have the internet now where everybody's got 300 Facebook friends and, however many Twitter followers, etc. But the truth is, getting that new mom who never did business with you before, who knows a million moms in Eden Prairie, can be huge.
Right.
So how much are you willing to spend to get her?
Right.
Because she's basically your referral engine in her neighborhood. So when you ask me the question, how much should I be spending on marketing, you can kind of see all these different things can have such a huge impact with regard to referral rates.
Right.
So I don't want to make this more complicated than it has to be, but I also don't want you guys to just think, okay, Nate, give me a percentage. I want to know. Should I be spending 12% or 18%? I mean, I realize you guys are trying to make budgets and plans, and I want to get there with you, but I want to be thinking about all these things.
So it's more complicated than that.
Yeah.
So really, if you're in a high referral business, when you're looking at your cost per lead, I mean, you need to sort of consider that. It's like,
exactly.
What is a lead worth to me? What is the lifetime value, and what are the kind of referral rates, and what can I expect from this down the road?
Right. Yeah. So if you spend $80, but every fifth person turns into a referral,
yeah,
you have to be thinking about that. And like I said, the smart businesses, they are thinking like that. And so, yeah, I mean, referral rates are just huge.
So how do we define the lifetime value of a customer?
Usually I think most businesses I work with are thinking about it over a year or two. Beyond that, they're usually not thinking about it. Sometimes I have some industries like dentists and stuff where they're thinking beyond a year or two, because if you find a dentist you love, it's likely you'll be with them for far longer. Do you have a dentist you like, Steve, that you go to?
Yeah, and I think the other issue there is you've got, like with dentistry, is you've got, lifetime value, I mean, really on a whole family a lot of times.
Right.
If you can get somebody in, then a lot of times you'll get you get one person, you get the whole family. So there's I guess that's almost a referral rate the topic there too.
Yeah, and I mean, I think lifetime value, what I've seen with immature marketing companies that just aren't very mature with their marketing, well, you and I have talked about it many times, and we've started sharing this with our customers. We never used to tell people this, but we'll let you guys in on something.
There we go.
When we used to do campaigns for people, we used to say that if after 6 weeks they liked us, they thought that the campaigns we did were effective, we used to think we hit a home run. And you might say, well, Nate, you just said you didn't say, well, what we found was after 6 months, so 6 months after the campaign, they would love us.
Yeah.
And after a year, they would view us as somebody they couldn't live without.
Right.
And the reason is somewhat with lifetime value, I think, and referral rates too, quite honestly.
Yeah.
Is that when you usually if you have marketing you've done, and if it's only been 4 or 6 weeks after the campaigns that you've done, and you're feeling pretty good about it, I'd say there's about a 95% chance that you're going to feel really good about it months down the road. And this is partly why, is when you start factoring in the referrals and the lifetime value of the customers and these different things, you're going to feel a heck of a lot better about that.
So it really takes some time to see the real impact of a campaign.
Yeah. Well, and let me give you some real examples. So I won't use customers' names, or maybe I'll just even keep industries. But I can tell industries. I just won't say customers.
There you go.
But, let's say with hair salons, I like that one because we do a lot of those. They're spending anywhere from $40 to $100 to get in a lead.
Yeah.
And you might say, well, that doesn't make any sense. If they're only getting a $15 haircut, why in the world would they spend $40
to get it? Yeah.
Lifetime value customer.
There you go.
And like you said, also referral rates. If they, they're in an industry where they're very high.
Yep.
Same thing. There's a home service business I work with right now that comes to mind right away too. They're spending $100 to $200 for a lead. A lot of their jobs they do are only $200 or $300.
Yeah.
You might say, well, that doesn't make any sense.
Hardly pays for itself.
But if you are a home service business where they, on average, your customers come back to you every 2 years, and if what you found over the years is that if you do a good job on that first one, they will absolutely come back to you 5 times in the next 10 years. Yep. And sometimes they might spend more than $300. They might spend $800.
Yep.
Once every 4th purchase or something like that. I mean, so these are all factors when you talk about lifetime value.
Right, and then you add referral rates. I mean, and then that's bringing your cost per lead down. Every time that happens.
Right.
It doubles for every person you add.
Right, and this is also part of the reason. I mean, people oversimplify. I've heard some people say, "Well, I'll be willing to spend, all of my gross profit." So if I have a $1,000 sale, and let's say my gross profit on that $1,000 sale is $400,
yeah,
I'll spend $400 to get that lead, knowing that I have lifetime value and referral rates and stuff that will give me future margin. I think that's oversimplifying for almost every industry. But, at least you're starting with some kind of strategy.
Right, give you something to work with.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like we talked about in other videos here, you got to be thinking about much more than that.
Right.
But, at least you're thinking some strategy, not just, let's spend 15%. Well, that's probably way oversimplifying. You really need to factor all these different things. But I like what you were hinting at, Steve. With all these things, you should be able to kind of get a number. How much are you willing to spend for a customer, for a lead? This is really where I hope we can lead you with all these different questions and really thinking strategically about them is, I think if you can get down to how much you're spending.
So what about attrition rates? How does that feed into this?
Oh, gosh. Again, big time. Because, when we've worked with franchise fitness, let's say in the past,
right?
And for a while there, it's gotten much better in the last couple years. But for a while there, they were seeing like for every 3 new people they get in the front door, 1 was going out the back.
Yeah.
And so their attrition rates were atrocious.
And that was probably tying into a poor referral rate too.
And usually all these things are always tied together, right?
Yeah.
Or lack of unique selling propositions, or lack of being able to communicate any unique. I hate to say, like I said, we can always make that stuff up, like we talked about in other things. Not make it up, but find your unique angles.
Well, it's a challenge when some of those businesses are so similar.
Yeah.
With the fitness clubs is a good example.
Yeah. I mean, give us a couple months with any business and we can figure out how to position them. I guess that's how I feel about that.
Right.
But most people, they don't see past that. They never see past their product just as what it is.
Yeah.
They need to think differently than that. But attrition rates can be huge because I guess in that case, if you have 3 new people coming in and 1 going out, that, you have to factor that attrition rate in, how many people you have going out the back door just to break even.
So it's sort of like the opposite of lifetime value, or not the opposite, but the
exactly,
where it means a shorter lifetime.
So particularly if you're in a membership type thing, so if you're a house cleaning company or a fitness or these kinds of places where they have people who are constantly, but then also, obviously like we just talked about dentists, they're one too, they have a certain amount. You want to keep an eye on these and know what the industry averages are, so you can kind of see where you're fitting in.
Be realistic.
Gosh, I've seen businesses where they have 5 times the normal attrition rate, and I literally stand up on the desk and say, you better be scared to death because something is going very wrong with your company.
Yeah.
And, of course that freaks people out, but...
Why are people abandoning shit?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you got to plug the holes before we keep on, adding more people, otherwise this whole thing's going down. Yeah. So, I think... this is partly why we want to be looking at this, and it's always something that you hopefully can improve.
Yeah. So there may be something to do even with the attrition rates other than just throwing more money at it.
It can be. I mean, usually, it's also about getting the right kind of clients too, and we're going to talk a lot about that in another
segment.
Segment here. But, sometimes that shows that you're not really getting the target market that you should be going after. So it could have to do with your targeting. You're getting the wrong kind of client in the first place. Maybe you got them in the door, but really they're not going to stay long because they weren't the right person in the first place. So how does that fit into how much I should be spending on marketing? A lot, because you need to be thinking about target and, keeping people on board when you're thinking about all these things.
Right.
So, again, lots of strategy. I realize that, you guys want everything to be simple. I do too, but it can't be. If you want it to be effective, you need to be thinking about all these different things.
So really need to be discussing the specifics to figure it out.
Yep.
Okay, well, let's wrap this up.
I still have my click to add title here. That's okay.
I don't know if they can see that or not.
Yeah, I think they can. That's all right.
Okay.
We're not shameful of it. We don't care.
Well, they could send us an email if they got an idea for a title. At any rate, if you like this video, here's how you could help us. You could leave a review, you could or a comment, a Twitter mention. You could share this video with someone else if you can think of somebody that this would help. Or if you would like to suggest a video topic, let us know about that. If you're ready to take action and want to get some help from us, we have the phone number here, or email us or Twitter at Nate Streeter. We'd love to hear from you. Do we want to talk to them about any of our packages? Or
yeah, I mean, I think if you're, some of you probably are struggling. We'll have another presentation just specifically about how to get your referral rates up. Mm-hmm. But if you're really struggling with how much you should be spending on marketing and how referrals and lifetime value and all this stuff just sounds like, I can't take it. we can really help you make sense with it. And we do. We have packages that start at $599 for 4 sessions, and we can really start helping you get a handle of this. And so you don't have to commit to the big packages, spending between $3,000 and $10,000 a month, and go all in. We'd love that, and we'd love to work with you closely like that. But if you really want to just work on a specific problem and really get your feet wet into strategizing some of this stuff, like these bigger companies do, we can certainly help you with that.
Yeah,
and it's pretty easy to get started with it.
Yeah.
So I look forward to talking to you, and
yeah.
we'll kind of go into some more with this.
Till next time, take care.
All right.